Welcome to CRT Gaming Podcast, episode number 23, Panzer Dragoon Rebirth. I am Jones, and with me tonight are my longtime friends Dazpick and Gohan. Mr. Gohan, were you prepared to fight the Empire with an amazing orchestrated score and not be in an X-Wing?
It was an awesome trip down memory lane. It was good times.
And Daz, there's a rider on a blue dragon. He's mortally wounded. He's entrusting this mission as well as his dragon. Do you accept?
If I knew the weapon was as shitty as it was, I probably wouldn't have. It's a damn pea shooter.
Uh-oh. Super Dragon.
Talk about Solo Wing like that.
Yeah, I mean, for real.
Oh, the dragon's fine. It's a shit gun.
Gotta work with what you got. Yeah, so we're doing 3D third-person shooters, and Gohan here has chosen the remake of Panzer Dragoon. And could you walk us through why you wanted us to play this game, sir?
The Panzer Dragoon games are just really unique third-person shooters. Kind of felt like it was like an evolution of Star Fox a bit. I really was a big fan of Star Fox back then. And it just brought so many new things to the table, like the kind of snap turns and the set pieces and just little things like the radar. Plus, I think the regular shot plus the kind of Death Blossom lock-on was just a really cool concept that worked well in a 3D shooter. Kind of going back then, there's a lot of experimentation due to 3D being so new, and this was actually one of the few kind of innovations that actually stuck.
Yeah, definitely. It's the first game that I recall, like at least console-wise. I think Descent might have been out on the PC where you could go anywhere, but you actually could, look in 360 degrees and shoot stuff, and you kind of had to because it was coming at you from all angles at times. We actually did the actual remake of this game that was done by MegaPixel Studio, and so I know we had all played the original Panzer, on the Saturn. So how did you feel about the remake? I know it's kind of a mixed bag out there from what other people are saying.
Mixed bag of what? It's beautiful.
I totally agree. I loved it.
My God, I guess these people haven't gone back and played the original on a Saturn emulator because it looks like dog shit. The original, going back and playing Panzer on an emulator is awful.
Even like on the original hardware, like Panzer itself was. It was kind of groundbreaking in a lot of ways. It was very refreshing as far as this new IP that was born. Everything about it. I'm not going to go into it this second, but going back, time does not.
It's not kind.
It's not kind at all to older Saturn 3D games.
It's not. Older Saturn games definitely. Time has not been kind to them. They have a specific chunky look to them, and it's not pretty. And this was, it was beautiful, man. Everything about it, the water reflections, the world, the dragons, everything is just super smooth and silky. And it was very emblematic of how Streets of Rage 4 looks in comparison to the originals, And it was stunning. I don't see how anybody could have something negative to say about that.
Yeah, I agree.
Brain dead.
I agree. It's like, and fair enough, right? They're critiquing a game design that's over 20 years old, but taking it as it is, and where it belongs in history, I think that they maybe missed the point a little bit.
Yeah, from what I was seeing is people were critiquing the game itself, and I really don't think that's fair in the sense that it's, to me, a perfect reboot or a remake or a rebirth or however you want to label it is you take the exact same game and you update it, and that's kind of exactly what this game is. It's
right.
It's gorgeous. I love it because before, if you wanted to play it, your choices were playing it on the Saturn or using an emulator to play it, which kind of gives you better looking 3D Saturn graphics, which isn't a whole lot still. Or there was like an old Windows PC version that came out like back in like 97, which then got ported to the PlayStation 2, which, you know, there's still not a whole lot to look at.
That all sounds gross.
Yeah, there's a version on the Panzer Dragoon Orta that you can unlock after you beat it, which looks probably the best out of all of those, but it's still rough. And being able to go back and play this game looking like this was it's a religious experience. I really enjoyed it.
The dev team was Team Andromeda, and they kind of famously built the Jet Set radio games later on. The designer, Futasugi, I just kind of reading a little bit about this, I had no idea, but he was 24 years old when he was helming this game. That's just kind of crazy. Like, there's a lot of talent here, and the Azuma soundtrack, Yoshitaka Azuma, he wrote the music for this, and to me, like, the music for this game is the stuff of legends, and like hands down my favorite Saturn soundtrack. And seeing that game kind of, you know, revamped and refreshed I agree, Jones. I was definitely enjoying our game this week.
Yeah, they did a lot of pretty interesting things in this remake. They let's see, I will absolutely butcher her first name, but her last name's Kobayashi, and she was the composer for Panzer Saga. What is it?
No, you said Kobayashi. I said Maru.
Oh yeah, that's why I know that's how you say Kobayashi. Unless Kirk's telling me wrong, then everything I know, like my whole life story, all knowledge is trash. But she did the Panzer Saga and Orta. She did the soundtracks for both of those, and they brought her in to do the arranged soundtrack for Rebirth, which is, you know, that's kind of cool. Someone that's worked on them in the past.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. I didn't realize that they had the other composer do the remix or whatever you want to call it. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Which I played the game on both of them. The second, you know, her version there's nothing at all wrong with it, but I do prefer the original, and I could just be biased, you know, from years of playing it like that. But yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting that they did that. And then you had mentioned, what was the creator's name again?
Futasugi. He was the designer of the game.
Yeah, and he did all the all the Panzer games.
Yeah,
basically.
That was kind of his kind of brainchild.
Now, did you ever get a chance to play Crimson Dragon that he made when the Xbox One first came out?
I did. It definitely, I mean, granted, it didn't have like the big a budget of other games that were out at that time, but like it was, you know, definitely a trying to modernize that design further, and it's been a while, but I remember it having some pretty good graphics.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, when you compare it to like this genre that you're used to seeing like this, yeah, it does look really good. It had a couple things, like it kind of borrowed from like Panzer Saga, where you would like upgrade your dragon and stuff like that. But it did have this control scheme where you used, you know, the left stick for flight, even though you're on rails, and then the right stick aims. And I did see that control scheme
what do you
was
think
added
about
into
that?
the remake.
What do you think about that? I saw that. I didn't use it when I played, but did either of y'all try that? I mean,
no, it actually works really good, but it takes a little bit to train your brain to it because you're so used to playing it the other way. Like the first time I tried it, I was like, this is terrible. I want nothing to do with this. And then I actually did go back and check out Crimson Dragon because it's been years since I've even looked at it. And that's how that plays. And then it kind of clicked a little bit. And then I went back to, you know, Rebirth, and that was fine. That's the one thing about this game being on rails that I really like. It's kind of like Star Fox, like you mentioned. It's like you're going on a predetermined path, with the illusion that you're flying, but you're just essentially dodging stuff. But I think that lets the creators of the game create a much more interesting way to play the game, rather than, if you had like full 3D flight, you're just kind of flying all over the place. So I kind of liked a lot of just seeing the areas just done, highly textured and HD now. Like, you're flying past pillars. Like the first level's jaw dropping the first time you see it.
No doubt.
Yeah, I really like the kind of jungle level about 2/3 of the way through. It was cool to see that kind of realized in HD.
Level 4 is where you're like, well, this is one thing about the Panzer
tunnels,
games.
Right?
That's the tunnels, yeah.
Yeah.
You're in this, like the Panzer games, it's kind of a cool artistic style or decision, but the creation of a alien technology that looks ancient, which is kind of basically what they did a really good job with the style of this game, like just because all the old technology. So you're in this tunnel. God knows what's you're in a tunnel of what, who knows. But the graphics in that tunnel with the lighting for like the shots you're doing and the dragon lock-on shots, it just looks, it's just amazing looking. I played this game way more than I thought I would. I did buy it on the Switch back when it first came out, but then I didn't know it came out, for the PC and the PlayStation and all that. So seeing it like as high res as I can possibly make it, it's gorgeous. I love it. I can't wait for the sequel.
And the same team is going to do Zwei. They're going to do the follow-up as well.
Correct. It's been announced.
Oh, really?
When this got originally announced, they announced they're doing both of them. Now they've gone kind of silent since then, but I would assume that they're working on it.
That's super exciting. That means like this is in good hands. It's in good hands.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love Zwei, dude. That was my jam. I really enjoyed that one. I did not dislike this game. I just didn't like particularly in the tunnel level, the boss.
You gotta shoot him in the head. That fight's a pain in the butt.
It's a pain in the butt.
Well, I've played through it like 5 times. Like, so I put some time in it this week. I went and played. I got on a dragon, Max Payne fix.
Panzer Dragoon General Jones.
Yeah. I played this. I went back and played Orda, beat Orda.
Orda was so good back
Crimson
in the day.
Dragon. Orda's hard.
It's actually hard.
And in comparison, like the Rebirth is much easier, even on a hard, compared to the original Panzer. I've beaten it on easy twice, normal twice, hard once, and I have the badge that you would not get. Well, like, I haven't earned the badge for dying, so I haven't died at all yet in the game. And I went and played the original Panzer, level 4. The guy you're talking about, he's got something for you in the original. He's got something for you.
Well, see, I was doing it, and I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, this should not be taking this long. Like, what am I missing? Like, was I missing a special move that I could do, or was I not hitting something? I didn't, and I was targeting everything that I could, and
right, and doing no damage.
Right, I'm like, this is annoying, and it just went on for so long, and then I died because I took a bunch of cheap shots in the tunnel, but then I did it again, and I flew right through it and I beat it. But yeah, it was just annoying. That's all. And there was just moments where the gun just felt like it wasn't doing a damn thing at all, and that the missile shots were just like, yeah, that's cute. Thanks, pal. So yeah, that was the only thing that annoyed me. But yeah, I finished it, a little while ago. But I loved it. It was freaking beautiful. And now knowing that they're making Zwei, which is one of my favorites, I love the running moments in that game, and Just the mix of the two.
Yeah.
Flying
is why I had some really good
that was
bosses
awesome.
in it too. The bosses, I think, were
Yeah.
like there's definitely some really memorable ones. There's that like one that like this like clawing across the ground at you. It's like chasing you, and
I think I still have that one somewhere. Anyway,
but yeah, the art direction for this game is mind blowing, right? It's like a destroyed world, but it isn't like post-apocalyptic like you're saying, Jones. It feels like ancient and kind of is like a mix between like Nausicaa and Mobius, the comic artist. It's like this
very Mobius.
It's like this just great kind of distillation, of both those things, and there's so many cool things, and yeah, in the Rebirth, the cutscenes are super faithful and well executed, and like you're saying, guys, it's like back in the day it was like really rough visually, right? And now with today's technology, it's cool to see how the Saturn designs were interpreted for modern hardware. I played it on the Switch, and it looked really good for a Switch indie title.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was very faithful. It had the gibber language. That they speak, it's Panzerese.
Panzerese. I'll buy that.
That's what all the kids are calling it.
It's whatever is on the other side of the continent of the people in Ico, their gibberish language.
Yeah, I loved all these games. This is like one of their franchises I really would like to see Sega take a shot with and come back and make a new one and just do it all the justice that they were once possible of doing. Because you had mentioned this was made by their Team Andromeda. And like I said, I was kind of looking at that, and if you're listening, we don't pretend to know everything. One of the things we do, in playing these games, is we go back and we try to learn a little bit ourselves about them. And I was looking at the Team Andromeda, and they made all the Panzer games. Okay, then Sega cut that back and converted them to a inner organization called Smilebit, which they did like Jet Set Radio, Gun Valkyrie, Panzer Dragoon Orta, and then that same division is now Sega Sports Japan, and it's just like Mario and Sonic at the Olympics games, and it just kind of just shows you just the terrible decisions like Sega is possible of making. Like, I mean, how do you start at this level and it ends at Mario and Sonic in Rio in 2016 Olympic Games?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Sega, right? Like, we've definitely talked about a lot of different Sega titles, for the show, and a lot of those teams, Sega has been restructured like 50 times, and every single time that some of these really talented men and women just kind of get lost in the shuffle, and then you're working on smaller titles and stuff like that, and they're just so much, like you're saying, so much creativity was coming out of them at this time. It would be kind of cool to see like those creators take on bigger projects than, I'm guessing those Olympic games are like handheld games or something like that, right?
No, they were actually in the Olympics. They were
fascinating. I like the Green Lantern kind of origin story, where the dragon finds him. Like,
yeah, that dragon's got some splaining to do. That dragon.
If the dragon was here, what would you ask?
He's just peaced out.
So like the whole game, like you're getting hit, and then you could possibly die. But then at the end of it, the dragon's gonna do the suicide mission.
Bro.
Yeah, here's a force field. I'm blowing the whole world up or whatever. Blows it up, and you wake up on a beach. You got dragon feet prints, so it's been there. So this force field protected you from this, but he doesn't give it to you till the end of the game.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I mean, he must not have liked his prior rider because he let him die. It's like, this guy was an asshole, you know, I'm just going to let him take a few shots. I'm not giving him the force field. I need somebody new at the reins.
Yeah, and then if he's just gonna fly in there himself and he shoots himself, what does he need a rider for? Like,
I know.
These are some deep.
He just needs
Panzer
somebody to ride,
questions.
bitch.
he can handle this himself. Like, you're fighting the prototype or the
Maybe
Black Dragon.
Maybe that's how he just gets his jollies, man. He just needs somebody on his back. Hey, you're looking kind of good. Come here.
Get on my back. We're going for a ride.
It's like the dragon just looks at the riders as just like disposable. It's like, yep, yeah, go ahead and hop on.
This is new John.
Go ahead, just hop on. Where's this going?
Yeah,
What's your name? Oh, never mind.
Well, before we get too off, sidetracked here, it's a great game. I'd like to one day maybe go back and visit the other ones. Maybe we'll figure a way to do that in the future. But going with this game, so rating, how would you rank it, Mr. Gohan, on the Rebirth?
Super biased. I love this game.
Nothing wrong with that, man. It's okay.
Back then it was just like, for me, like the Saturn was an awesome piece of hardware. It definitely kind of got upstaged by the PlayStation 1, when it came out. But the one game that I loved on the Saturn was this game, and I feel the same way about the game now that as I did kind of back then. And I'd say it's a very strong 9 for me. It's the whole package. It's the cool 3D shooter. It's the amazing music and the crazy, Mobius art direction and weird kind of abstract storytelling. It's still a classic.
I'd give it a solid 9. I really, really enjoyed this game. There's a couple things that they could change and make it just slightly a little better, but I have no complaints at all with this game. I love the original. I felt like most of the original Sega games themselves were the reason to own a Saturn.
For sure.
Yeah, like I said, I have no fault at all with this game. I absolutely love it. How about you, Mr. Dazpick? How would you rank it?
I agree wholeheartedly with both of you. A solid 9. I mean, it's beautiful. I love the original. There was some shit that pissed me off, but it's just, again, like I didn't know to hit him in the head or to target the head. You would assume that, but it's also hard to do on the fly when you're trying to, track what to hit. But, no, man, it was nice to revisit it and in such a gorgeous way. Also, one little additional thing that I really like that you don't see very often anymore, when you finish a game especially, it has a code to unlock some shit at the end. I thought that was great. It was a real throwback to that time period. You put a little code in, you get an extra menu with some hidden shit, and it's like, man, thank you. That was awesome. You just don't see that much anymore.
What does the code do?
Yeah, that's true.
What does the code do?
It
Pandora's
unlocks
box.
it's Pandora's box, man. You get stage select, God mode, rapid fire, new control stuff, all kinds of shit.
Yeah, you can remove the rider, so you just...
Yeah, you can get rid of the rider because, you obviously don't need his dumbass. So you can just be the dragon and take care of business. So the ending makes more sense.
Well, when you put it that way.
If it's an option, clearly you don't need him. So, yeah, it was awesome. I really enjoyed that. That just was a wonderful throwback to, just a wonderful throwback, man.
Yeah, that's
I miss
true.
that stuff. And the code was comical.
Up, up, down, down, left, right, BB.
BB. They didn't want Konami's pachinko machines chasing them
Yeah,
down for
yeah,
legal
so
fees.
it's getting too close.
So no, man, yeah, I loved it. It was great. It's nice to go back.
Yeah, it definitely was. Was there, in closing, was there anything you'd like to add? Go on, Panzer Dragoon?
Panzer is, yeah, it definitely stood the test of time. You know, the story is open-ended, and I like how it asks questions, and that's kind of like cool art to me. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where we go next. Jones, I was trying to get us out of this cage with Panzer Dragoon. Are you going to unlock us out of this madness that Daz threw us into?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Come on, we're
I'm
counting
so
on you. This is the
thankful for
moment of
this game
truth.
because it bought me time.
Psyops.
It bought me
Psyops.
time. I have never spent this much time trying to pick a game, like ever. I dug to the very bottom of the retro trash can, like for every system. Each time I came up empty-handed. I mean, I looked desperately for something
It's a
I actually
retro
wanted
raccoon.
to play.
The retro raccoon.
Metal Gear Solid, hello?
I don't want to play it though. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but I just didn't want to play it. But after weeks of searching, the gods sensed my struggles and looked down upon me and smiled.
Siphon Filter.
And this game here is I don't think either of you have played it. It is a game produced by Sega, developed by Sega AM2, and it is called Super Dimensional Fortress Macross for the PlayStation 2.
Interesting.
Absolutely. I know Macross, but I never got to play that title. This should be fun.
Yeah, as soon as we end here, I'll
It's not like the cell-shaded one that was on GameCube, right?
no, that's garbage. I don't do garbage. I eat steak
We're
and
about to
drink
find
wine.
out. You're a gentleman.
I'm a
You know
gentleman, sir.
raccoon like Daz is.
He is a raccoon, man.
Retro
He is a total
raccoon.
raccoon. Retro. Dude. Yeah, you need an avatar. Retro raccoon. Oh. But, okay, well, I guess stay tuned. I haven't played it either, so this isn't new to all of us.
Oh, so you don't know if it stinks.
No, it could totally sync. I played one level of it, so I'm going with it, though, because them other choices are, I know they're bad. So, so I guess stay tuned next week and see how this turned out. It's a gamble.
Roll the dice.
Rolling the dice. Till then, this is Jones with Dazpick and Gohan, and we are signing out.
Until next time.
Game over, yeah!